Welcome to Words of Wisdom from Kick-Ass Women.
Stories and advice about moving forward, punching through that glass ceiling, pushing harder, and blazing trails from women we really admire.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Words of Wisdom from Kick-Ass Women. I'm Liz Brohan, and Mary Olivieri couldn't join us today, but I've got somebody special. I have a special co-host, Mary Tobiason. And I think you'll all remember Mary from another episode where she showed us how to bring out our inner champion. Mary is a wonder at all of that. She is an Ironman World Champion, and she owns her own business. It is Athletic Movement Perfected. Well, you are perfection, Mary. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Liz. I'm extremely excited for this episode. You got some wonderful ladies in here today. I can't wait to share their story.
Absolutely. Very special. So with us today is an author, Lori Orlinsky, and even more exciting, her daughter, Ellie, because guess what? The book they just wrote together is about her. And it's really all about what it's like to be a middle child. So I think we're going to have a great conversation this morning, ladies, because you're sitting here with two other middle children. So we'll all share what our experience has been like, right?
Yeah.
So let's start with, what was it like to write the book?
It felt empowering for me, for her. When Ellie became a middle child, she seemed to get lost in the shuffle between my older daughter, who does competitive dance, and the younger one, who was a baby and just, needed time and attention. And I saw Ellie struggling and trying to find her footing. And so when she came to me and told me she felt like she was ignored, I wanted to do something that would empower her. And so this process was really fun. I said, I'm going to write a book about this, because I had written, this is book number 5 for me. My first book was called Being Small, and it was actually inspired by my oldest, who was the smallest kid in school, and she was getting made fun of. So I wrote a book about that, and she felt more confident, and that was amazing. And I had a couple books in between, and I said, let me revive that book series and call it Being Middle. So Ellie was with me every step of the way, critiquing me, giving me positive feedback, negative feedback. She looked at test sketches, and so she was really a big part of everything.
All right, Ellie, it's your turn. Tell us, really, how did that go for you?
Well, it was fun. The book changed the way I thought of being a middle child forever. It, changed the way I thought being the middle was mean, you are ignored, you're left out. But now I feel like it's better. You aren't ignored.
Aw. Mary, would you agree with that? Were you ignored as a child?
You know what? I had very similar experiences. I had an older brother that was an incredible athlete, and another baby that was super cute. And one of the days I remember in particular was my brother was being given accolades for football, and we were walking out of a parking lot, and I said to my parents, would you like to see me walk so slow I never get anywhere? Because I was the middle child and I just wanted attention. And then the little one had ice cream on his face, and they thought that was cute. So I put ice cream on my face and nobody noticed. So I get it. Yeah. Being seen's a big deal. So your mom saw you, and I can't wait to hear more about the book.
Yeah, absolutely. So I read the book, and I read it a few times, and it does kind of start out, Ellie, with you're not being happy about being that middle child. So, and that was the impetus, right, Mom?
Exactly.
That's kind of what started it. And I do want to tell you that your mom's pretty spectacular. Now, she's won a lot of awards for these children's books that she writes, and she really does use literature to empower children. And we need to hear more about that, because we think that is a noble effort.
How do you feel differently now, Ellie, after the book process? How do you view being a middle child?
It makes me feel better about being middle. It makes me feel like I have an older sister. She could have fun. I have a younger sister. I could help her. I could help her see life differently.
That's empowering.
Ellie often says, I'm not stuck in the middle now. What do you say?
I get to be in the middle.
Absolutely. So my mom was also a middle child, and her older sister and younger brother, both brilliant individuals. And so she just decided, well, I'm not going to feel bad about it. She used to call herself the meat in the sandwich.
I love that. That is great.
Absolutely. So there's all kinds of positives, right?
Right. In the book, we actually reference things that kids can understand. So the cream in an Oreo cookie, and we say that the middle child is like a bridge that connects one place to another so they can visualize it.
Oh, you know what? They say that about middle children all the time, that we're the ones who, you know, like your mom just said, we build the bridges, you know, we bring people together, we try to connect the dots in the family, but then you kind of carry that out into the world, right, Mary?
Oh, yes. You're always trying. It's oftentimes that the middle children are known to be people pleasers. You're trying to keep everyone happy because you're not the extreme. You're the one that's kind of, all right, status quo. Let's make sure everyone in the family's happy. Mom and dad, your older siblings, your younger siblings. Have you found that you have had any experiences when maybe you're trying to keep the baby happy or everyone just calm in the house?
Yeah, I think I could relate to that.
So can you give me any example?
Sometimes when my little sister's having a fit, I help her out and make sure she gets better.
That's wonderful. Same thing with your older sister when she's having a fit?
Yeah.
Hey, she's 12,
Unfortunately.
but she still does it in her own way.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, Lori, it sounds like this book has a very personal kind of family connection. Is that the inspiration behind most of your work? Because you get picked up nationally all the time.
Absolutely. When I wrote that first book, Being Small, I thought originally this is a book I would write for my daughter, Haley, and just read it and share it with her. I wrote it as a poem. I wrote it on Post-it notes and computer paper, and people encouraged me to publish it. And when I did, it was shocking to see that the book resonated with other short kids. But not only that, it resonated with kids that felt different in other ways, kids that had glasses, kids with different abilities. And I got invited to go to Lurie Children's Hospital and to read the book to the kids that were staying in one of the units. And I kept it very, very light. And I said, does anybody ever feel different? What's one way you feel different? And I raised my hand myself and I said, I'm a lefty. I feel different. And this was the most eye-opening thing. It brings tears to my eyes, but kids would raise their hand and they said, I have someone else's heart beating in my chest. And,
wow.
I actually have a leg that's not really a leg. And being there, I did not realize that book impacted kids on that level. I thought it was just going to be fun for them to read when they were there. And that changed my whole outlook on writing because I realized that it impacts everyone, not just your own kids. And I thought, I would come home to my parents' house in Ohio over Thanksgiving and all the books would be in the closet and they'd buy all my books. And, the book did really well because it resonated with kids.
No kidding. And I think that whole theme of what's different about you, I think that resonates with everyone today. And I'm not just talking kids, because there's so many things that we should celebrate about being different, right?
Yeah.
So I'm glad that the children at Lurie, I know that they go through what, but, it's so nice that they helped open your eyes and helped you see the possibilities. That's pretty inspiring.
Yeah, it was amazing. And it just made me want to write more and more. And with all of my books, I tell lessons. I do lessons through rhyming books. And I do that because Ellie also inspired another book, for example. We said it was telling stories when she was little, but she was actually lying a lot. She would have a face covered in chocolate, and I'd say, did you eat the cookies? And she was like, no, I didn't. And so I wanted to sit her down and talk about lying, but I felt like it was going to be kind of an attack on her where she would feel like she was defending herself. And so I thought, let me try and write a book about lying. And so kids, I figured, love the tooth fairy. And so I used the tooth fairy in that book to teach a lesson. And so it's about a little girl who swallows her first tooth and loses it. So she puts a kernel of popcorn under her pillow. And it's all about what happens when you lie. And
so you don't get money?
You'll have to read to find out. But it was like kids can learn lessons through books where they actually see what choices the characters made and what the repercussions are, instead of having an uncomfortable conversation with parents.
You know, it's so interesting, and it goes back to Mary's story too, about how sometimes we act out and we don't do what we know is right because we want some of that attention that we don't think we're getting.
Yeah.
Ellie, did you ever have anything like that?
Maybe.
Maybe. With the chocolate cookie thing, right?
Yeah. Probably about all different kinds of desserts.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Lots of attention-seeking behaviors. I noticed when our little one was born, we have bunk beds, and at some point, Ellie was like hanging. She looked like she was lifting weights. She was like hanging from the bunk beds, and she would even pretend to fall and be like, ow, because she wanted any kind of attention, even if it was negative too. She would have a little bit more fits because she just needed that time to regulate with someone. So it was, I'm glad that she actually came to me and said, I feel completely left out. I'm tired of this, because I don't know that I would have noticed, because as a new mom, you're wrapped up in all of that stuff. And then the day-to-day hustle, and it just becomes like, taking your kids to school, to their activities. And so I'm glad that Ellie spoke up.
Yeah, I think that's a great lesson just in listening. And listening to kids is just as important as, listening to our partners and our bosses and other people in our lives. So I think that's great that your mom listened to you. And now look, you're famous.
Yeah.
You're famous.
And we've constantly tried with Ellie. As I said, my older daughter, Haley, does competitive dance. So she lives and breathes dance. And we put Ellie into dance because that's what the older one does. And she liked it. It was fine. But she just didn't find anything that she loves. And so as part of this journey with helping Ellie feel seen, we let her do any activity she wanted to find her thing. We've kind of found it in theater. Ellie does theater once a week, and she's going to be in the Matilda play in December.
I love it.
But
That's
she does
exciting.
theater, music, swimming, tumbling, and just trying to find out who she is. But she's done everything, even did taekwondo for a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sure that
Yes.
resonates with you, Mary.
Oh, yeah.
You're a big believer.
Absolutely, in the movement. So, that can bring you a lot of joy too, and give you time to sort things out. Whenever you're moving, your brain is free, and you can think about who you are and what gives you the most joy. I think it's really neat when you're finished with any type of activity to stop and think, how do I feel now physically? And what's my brain doing? Do I feel happier?
Yeah.
And you'll know, are you familiar with the whole theory of trusting your gut or going with your intuition? So if it feels right, then that's what's for you. So I would encourage you to use that as you're trying to figure out where you want to put the most time. Find something you really love. I was lucky enough to find, movement when I was super young. I started running when I was 7. And it's always made me feel great. And I still do it. Now I'm an old lady.
Do you have a favorite in all those activities that your mom told us about?
Probably singing, theater, and tumbling.
That's great.
I like everything I do.
That's
you?
great. But I think the theater thing is kind of super cool.
I
Yeah.
do too. That's really neat. And if you could do that and then find something, that's a lot of mental and emotional when you're doing the theater, and then find something with movement, and then you'll be just fulfilled from every angle.
Yeah.
That's really neat.
And one thing that resonated with me is I was talking to another parent, and they said, well, stop parenting the child you had and start parenting the child you have. And that was interesting to me, because the way I parented Ellie was the exact way I did it with my older daughter, because I figured she came out pretty okay.
Sure.
So I instead just looked at Ellie for who she is, and she has different needs. She has different wants, and she's just a different person. And so once I started seeing Ellie as her own unique individual, I think that's when she began to completely thrive.
That's wonderful.
I think that's such great parenting advice.
love that.
I wish I'd known that sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have 2, so I didn't have the middle child syndrome, but I was always in tune with it because I was one. But I always said that I had 2 only children. So I have a boy and a girl. And they're so different, and they're still so different, but they're older. They're 30 and 28. Just completely, I think it's easier when it's a boy and a girl, honestly, because they have generally very different interests, and they're the best of friends. But I think even throwing in animals. So I'm a big animal person. Where do I fit the animals in? How do I try to distribute equal love to the animals too, because I'm a total people pleaser too, though. So that's a story for another podcast.
We will get there. Absolutely. We're not going to pass up that one. Ellie, I have another question. So you're the subject of a book that you and your mom wrote, and now you're getting parts in plays on the stage. So is life different for you at school? Are people kind of recognizing that, hey, you've got talent?
Yeah, sometimes people say, I'm a middle child too, or I have a younger sister that's a middle child. I have an older brother that's a middle child.
Are you going to give them good advice?
Yeah, and I tell them it's fun to be middle.
It is fun to be middle. When I was growing up as a middle child, I don't think that I disliked that whole invisibility cloak thing, because it did kind of allow me some freedom, and I was able to kind of do things a little under the radar that my parents maybe never knew about. But again, another podcast, I guess. But I'll tell you one thing, we were talking about how we build the bridges, we bring people together. As a very young girl, probably your age, maybe even a little younger, I grew up in a house with 7 people, and we only had 1 bathroom. So whenever I was in the bathroom, there was this family of little people that lived under the bathtub. They're like the Lilliputians in Gulliver's Travel, right? And they would come out and they would talk to me about their problems, and I would think about how I would help them solve their problems. So even at a very young age, I took on that responsibility of being kind of the glue that holds everybody together, and these were my imaginary friends, and all I wanted to do was help them have a better life.
I love that.
A people pleaser, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that you're part of that? Are you partly people pleasing? And
Yeah, sometimes I try to help my younger sister feel like she gets what she wants. And same with my older sister. And I try to feel my parents get that way too.
One thing that Ellie does at school, I think you should tell them about junior coaching.
Oh.
This is awesome because this is who Ellie is.
It's like you assist the teachers to help the little kids at recess, the kindergartners, first graders, and second graders. You help them solve their problems out, and you help them make sure there's not bad stuff happening, like if they're in fights or they get hurt.
And so Ellie, she wanted to be picked to do that. And part of her pitch to the teachers, I'm a middle child. I do this all the time at home. And so Ellie has really thrived in some of these roles. And speaking of school too, she ran for student council. And the first speech that she wrote, it was all about my older daughter. It was, I want to be in student council because my sister did it. My sister's so amazing. My sister's done great for the school. And I said, you need a different essay. You cannot have that. And she said, why? And I said, make it about the person that you are. And so she changed the script. She talked about the positives that she has. And she talked about how being a middle child can help her share advice and be outspoken. And she actually got the highest votes in her class.
Wow.
So she is.
That's great.
I think Ellie's kind of riding high on a nice, like, self-acceptance.
And self-confidence, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's certainly one of the things we want all women, to feel. We want them to feel more confident. So you can show us how to do that through all of the wonderful things you're doing. And I was thinking about your story that you just told us about helping out at school. And I thought, well, I'm jealous because here I am helping imaginary friends and you're out there helping real friends. I just think that is super cool.
That is.
And we make sure, my husband and I make sure to acknowledge everything that Ellie brings to us, even if it's something like a small doodle that she brings back and she's like, oh, hey, look what I did during art class. We make a big deal of it. We're like, okay, when did you do that? We like the color. Let's put it on the fridge. Like, we try and acknowledge all the small moments and all the big moments. Now, with Ellie, but also with all of our kids, because it's just so easy to slip into that routine where your kids just become part of the routine rather than your kids.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit more about, you said swimming too. So are you a good athlete?
Yeah, I'm more like a graceful swimmer instead of like a fast swimmer because like people say there's 2 categories. And I hate running. Yeah, sometimes I can't run.
Oh, you can run.
Yeah.
It's all about just putting the time in.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Mary loves that you love to swim too.
Yeah. I do.
Yeah.
And I know what you're saying. Some people are very powerful in the water and others are more graceful.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, but with the grace, you can find the power.
Yeah.
I'll help you out. We'll find it.
Probably having that kind of grace translates into tumbling, right? Because didn't you say
Yeah.
that was another of your favorite activities?
Yeah, because you got to like point your toes sometimes, stick the landing.
Very cool. Who's your
That's wonderful.
favorite? Is it Simone Biles?
Yeah, I like Simone Biles.
How can we not? We love her.
She's so
Yeah.
little, too. Yeah,
She's a
Yeah,
powerhouse.
she is amazing. She really is. That is great.
So, Ellie, if you were going to help your mom write another book, what might it be about?
Well, she was thinking about being lefty because she's a left-hander.
Mm-hmm.
And,
I'm not
yeah.
totally sure. I might write a book. Do you want to tell them? So Ellie also inspired another book, which was neat. She was 2 and she didn't know it at the moment, but it's Sunday. I was sorting through laundry and just complaining. There's never white socks that match ever. And Ellie just like looked at me with these big blue eyes and she's like, the White Sox went to the White Sox game.
Oh, gosh.
And I thought that was so funny. And so I used that to spring off another book idea. And so that one was more about teaching kids about Chicago. So it was about a pair of White Sox. It was about a pair of White Sox that find a ticket in the washing machine and they go to a White Sox game and it's all about the things they see as they're going. Millennium Park, all the different sites. They get a hot dog and I was actually fortunate enough to work with the White Sox for that book. So that was
that's cool.
really fun. And I credit my kids, especially Ellie, for bringing these ideas to me because sometimes they're from the most unfiltered part of them.
Right? I have a whole box of socks in my laundry room, and I labeled it Socks Without Partners.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought I'd start a therapy group for those socks. I should just throw them away.
All right, I think we're inspiring another book. The
Yes,
whole idea that
right.
it doesn't have to match.
Right?
Right? You know, I hardly ever wear socks that match.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
maybe you and your mom can think about what else doesn't have to match in this world.
Yeah.
Ellie, what do you feel is the biggest difference in the way you view being a middle child now?
Now I view it being nice. You're cared for more and you don't feel invisible. You have more power and you can't get stopped.
Right. That's great. And no one is stoppable with the right
Yeah.
attitude.
Speaking of invisible, was there ever a time we might have forgot about you?
Well,
Whoa. That's
Well-
a yes.
they were still at home, but
This was pre-book.
yeah.
Okay.
But my sister, we did dance at the same time and her friend was picking us up and I was sleeping and they forgot to pick me up and they left. And then when she came home, my mom said to Haley, "Where's Ellie?" And they were about to call the studio. And then I went out of my room and said, "When's dance starting?"
She
You're
had
the
been home with
original-
us the whole time.
You're the original Home Alone story.
Yeah.
Although we were there at least, but she was so quiet.
Oh, Ellie. Wow, I think you need another book.
Yep. Mom
The
needs
Home
to write
Alone.
another book.
Right?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
what an inspiration, though. And I think it's so common. There are so many middle children that, and everyone is special in their own right. So for your mom to identify that and be able to help other people it's really empowering.
And it's about flipping the script on what kids think is negative and seeing it as a positive, seeing their differences as their superpower.
Right.
Everything you both just said reminds me that it also takes empathy and kind of resilience. So I'm wondering, how does empathy play into how you write these books? And the honesty about it, that you'd be a mom that would tell everybody, yeah, left her home alone.
Yeah,
Everybody responds to
I'm
honesty,
pretty
right?
frank about it. I make sure that I'm writing the books kind of as I'm going through those moments. And so being vulnerable, like, we've gone on TV and we've talked about some of those negative moments for us and some of the positive moments, but it's all about for other kids that might not be going through something is seeing that everyone struggles and having that empathy and understanding and being able to look at somebody and know they've got challenges and it's okay. They're still my friend.
Yeah.
All right. You just mentioned you've been on TV. Tell us where you've been.
We've been on like ABC.
You've been on WG. I mean, I just kind of came along as her sidekick. But when we launched the book on National Middle Child's Day, which is August 12th, and we were on every single morning show that week, or that day. So it was a lot, right?
Yeah.
And I remember she was like, "Oh, I'm so tired of being on TV," and I was like, "Oh, that's the life, man."
We were on 5 in like 1 week.
And then I said to her, "Do you want to do an interview with?" And she's like, "Can we skip it?" And I'm like, "No, we can't skip it."
Oh, how funny.
It's okay to be a diva every now and then.
Yeah.
You've earned it.
I dig that. Yeah.
Ellie, do you know what empathy means?
It means you have to know what someone feels, like you're going in their shoes. Like that means it's a metaphor for they're feeling mad. I could feel what they're feeling. I know they're feeling mad.
Right. Yeah, I think that's one of the best characteristics as a human being to have. Mm-hmm. When my kids were little and we would have a disagreement, I would have them write me a letter about how they felt, and I would write a letter about how I felt, and we'd switch.
Oh, I hope you save those.
I did, so that we could understand and have empathy for each other. So I hope that's something that you keep for your entire life. It'll help you be a better person.
I'm stealing that idea. Mm-hmm. That's such a great idea, because I got in a spat with my son yesterday, and he told me straight out I wasn't listening to him. And of course, I thought, well, you're not listening to me.
Yes.
So maybe I'll go home and ask if we could just write letters about that.
Right. It's great. And there were always push-ups involved for the person that was a little more off skew.
Oh,
right.
Brats. Speaking of that, I completely forgot to mention that actually the book idea also came when I was cleaning Ellie's room around the same time. And she knew I was an author. And so there was like a bunch of drawings scribbled together, and I could hardly read it. But there was one book actually that she wrote about, it was like, I'm stuck in the middle. And that was around the same time, like before she showed it to me. But I still have that little, that book that you wrote, I still have it. And it was just.
I think I was like in kindergarten or first.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So she was even writing in her journal and on books about
I think
being
I was
stuck.
eating paste then.
I know. I'm telling you, writing is powerful.
So cathartic.
And I do love this whole trend of everybody kind of keeping journals or, gratitude journals and all of those sorts of things. So, you're doing the right thing by just write down what you feel and see and all that and keep inspiring your mom.
I always tell my kids to try and find the glimmers in daily moments.
Yes.
And so when we were driving here, we looked at the colors of the trees. They were gorgeous. Green, red, orange. So we said that's our glimmer of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's more really smart advice to everybody. Just look for the glimmer in the moment. Yeah. Yeah. What's shining? What's bedazzling you?
Yeah.
Be the glimmer. I think you're glimmering. You are.
I do too. We're so proud of Ellie. I mean, not just for this book, but just we've always loved her and we've always seen her, but now we truly, truly see her, and she is amazing. You're going to make me tear up, but she is amazing.
And I think you're inspiring. I think you're going to inspire a lot of young women your age, and boys too, who could follow in your footsteps by just writing down what they feel or just sharing it with mom and dad, right?
Yeah, I love that part.
It's a good start.
You are also showing kids to communicate with your mom and dad. So tell them if something is bothering you, and they can help you problem solve. And I've always felt that that's parents' job, to advocate for our kids and help problem solve. And I love that you have partnered with your mom to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she and I have done book readings in schools, and I love being able to introduce her as the inspiration behind the book. And we have her picture on a slideshow, and we talk about everything that led us to here. And it's just been a wonderful whirlwind being an author, and especially doing it alongside my kids.
It is pretty. You're both pretty special. No doubt about it. And I love that you collaborate together, to make all of us smarter and to know that it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Right?
My little daughter is 3, and so still waiting for the inspiration for her, but we joke that the next book will be Being Bossy.
She's so bossy.
She just says, give this to me, and if you don't, I'll throw a fit.
That's awesome.
I mean, she is so sweet, but she knows how to work the system.
Oh, that's funny. It'll be like a new series of the Little Miss Bossy, Little Miss Clean, Little Miss whatever. You're going to have more kids, write more books.
I like Bossy Pants. I think that would be really fun.
That's cute.
I love that book.
Okay, so as we kind of wrap up today, what other advice might you give, us who need advice all the time, but maybe even, other girls your age?
Yeah, you're also not stuck in the middle. You get to be in the middle. You get to have an older brother or sister. You get to have a younger brother or sister. You get to be right in the middle.
Those are such different experiences, too. And I know I can see your mom's wheels already turning over there, that it'll inspire a lot more very cool books like the one she just told us about.
Yeah.
It's great advice. Lori, what do you think the rest of us should do?
Well, I think for parents especially is try and see your children in a different light. Instead, as I said, I was parenting the child that I had versus the child that I have. And it was so powerful to me. I mean, even with your middle child, even if it's just taking 5 minutes out of the day to recognize something that they have done. Today, we're going to pick up her report card and she's going to give me a tour of her school, and just taking the time, making the time for each child, but especially that middle child who may be struggling silently.
Oh, I think that's wonderful. Yeah. Mary, do you have any lovely final thoughts for us?
I think my final thought is right along the lines of what Ellie had to say. One of the things that I say to my athletes, I coach many, is it's a get to. No matter what you're doing in life every day, you get to do it. There are many people that can't. They can't get up. They can't move. Some people have left us. So if you embrace life and everything is an opportunity, look around and find joy and glimmers in all things, everything is a get to. And I think we need to be grateful every day, gratitude and attitude. And I'm so happy for you that you found that and that you feel seen.
Oh, that was lovely. Awesome.
And I can't wait to see how she turns out. I didn't want to write about the research that says that these kids become peacekeepers because it's not something kids can relate to in the now. But I can't wait to see if she follows that or if she kind of goes on her own.
Right.
I think she's going to be a star.
I think she already is.
There you go. There you go.
Maybe we'll see her on Broadway.
Right. Well, we'll come.
I would love that. We're gonna follow your career. So you stay in touch with us.
Yeah.
We're gonna have you back. As all the stages of your kick-ass womanhood, comes to fruition, you'll share it with us, right?
Yes.
We would love that. Well, thank you both. This has been a delightful.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. What a great conversation. I'm so glad, Mary, you were able to join us for it as all the middle kids sit around.
And I love it that you guys are middle children, too. Because as I said, I'm the oldest, but I kind of feel like a middle just raising her.
There you go. So thank you to Lori and Ellie. Please take a look at their book, Being Middle. And then finally, let me just wrap up by saying thank you to our sponsor, the Motion Agency. They are kick-ass women for sure. They are the largest independent woman-owned marketing communications firm, not just in Chicagoland, but expanding, the nation. So check them out too. And until next time, everybody, stay kick-ass.
Yeah.